funky picks. And this is why I'm excited to go into this, because I want to see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here for picks and bans. XL on the blue side with no org, no problem on the red. TF going to be taken away from Mistogun. And that is an interesting one.
Yeah, so, I mean, we were already talking about the weird picks coming through and TF already banned, but we're going to be getting back more to this, the stable picks being picked away, with the Zoe going to be banned away by no org, no problem. And we Nara banned as well. So we can already see that they're going to be putting a little bit of a pinch on towards, well, the mid lane to a certain extent, but we definitely have to see how they decide to round this out. The Azir are going to be banned away too, so we're already looking at Excel going to be maybe looking towards picking up an early mid laner for themselves.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of mid lane bans. Zoe, TF, and Azir all taken away. Varus going to be the next one. He's obviously more of an AD carry than anything else. But what is the last ban in this phase going to be coming out from the side of no org, no problem? I'd be curious to see now. They might just ban away. I was going to actually mention this. They might ban away the Gangplank. They don't want any of those kind of crazy burst damage mages or kind of burst damage coming out from them. They kind of saw that a little bit from their games in the qualifiers as well. That rounds out the bans. So XL, they've got the ball in their court. What are they looking to get?
Yeah, could be looking towards that rise in the mid lane, as we're saying. A lot of bans towards that mid set focus, so could end up seeing that. But I was going to say as well, Kog'Maw is on the board for them, so they're going to lock in their AD carry pick already. So wouldn't be surprised to maybe see them move towards this Galio pick that we've seen coming through, played to great success by Misfits as well, to enable that bot lane. On the other side though, we are going to have Braum picked up, that does particularly well into the Kog'Maw, because you're able to block so many of these stacks that are coming through, particularly once that Runaan's Hurricane is completed. And we're also going to be locking in the Sejuani as well, so looking going to be more towards seeing if they can answer for these late game fights where you've got the big team synergy coming through, all the ice balls flying everywhere.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly what way it goes for. As you say, no Nunu for the side of no org, no problem. Do the side of XL go for it as they lock in that Kog'Maw Tam Kench. Not quite getting the Braum, but just as much security with the Tam Kench. And that is definitely something they're going to be a lot happier with as well coming into this game. And definitely a little bit easier for them to, you know, keep that Kog'Maw protected like we talked about as well. But also gives them the option, I was just about to say, to get the Galio as well. They know that they can give you full protection now to this Kog'Maw and get him scaling into that late game.
Yeah, and this is the thing now. Do you lock in your mid laner to try and secure something nice for yourselves, or do you try to look towards the AD carry? But I think in no org, no problem now, going into this second ban phase, they'll be looking to put a pinch onto the junglers. You've already seen that the Sejuani is picked up by them. Hasn't really been much else thrown in the way of bans, but wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the Jarvan and the Zac be banned away here, just so then they can try and secure themselves that nice jungle. And also means that there's very little pressure that can come out as they try to shut down this Kog'Maw in the early stages.
Yeah, Tristana gives them that little bit of research. And Vel'Koz, I've been denied. I've been denied my Vel'Koz. He is banned away.
He heard you.
He heard me. He knew. They knew. They were like, oh, crap. You know who we need to ban? We need to ban Vel'Koz. He's so broken right now. Generally speaking, Braum is the counter pick for Vel'Koz. He can block a lot of his damage. That is being taken away, considering the side of XL do not have it. They also ban away the Corki as well. So there's two mid lane bans piled into there, knowing that they have the Galio secured and locked away. Ivern banned away along with the Jarvan, and Ivern's someone who I definitely haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, they're just trying to avoid this protect the Kog'Maw comp from coming out. What's actually the most surprising though is that Nunu is still on the board. I kind of am a bit wary about picking the Nunu when you got the Kog'Maw, because you actually cap out the attack speed before the Nunu can do too much, but you're set up to make good use of the extra attack, or certainly not the extra attack speed, the extra ability power anyway. But I think, yeah, the Ivern is just to stop this protection, the shields, and letting Venzer become this unstoppable monster as we move on throughout the game. But looks like we'll be looking towards this mid lane being picked up. The Xerath has been locked in, and now we'll be looking towards the jungler. I like the Zac in this scenario because you've kind of got this double threat with the Zac can go in, and then you've got the Galio to follow up. And you've also got that Let's Bounce to carry multiple members of no org, no problem back into the waiting hands of this Kog'Maw. I wouldn't be surprised to see them now try and pick up maybe something in the way of a side lane pusher as well. The likes of the Camille or something along that, just so that they can look for this 1-3-1 and have this very strong and protective mid lane. But Urgot is not one that we've seen in quite a while, and I'm actually excited to see how this plays out. Does do quite well in the split push, does beat out quite a few champions, and this is really cool. I'm excited.
Unky Urgi is in the house, blind picked into the side of No Org, No Problem, and this is kind of the thing of like, do you have a counter for it? I suppose Poppy can go into most things, and they're just going to pick up the Poppy for themselves, and that is... Ooh, I'm excited. I want to see how this Urgot pick works out for Sendos, because this is the kind of pick that can catapult your team into those mid-game spikes and make it so difficult for the side of No Org, No Problem to really make anything happen, or he's completely useless and doesn't really do anything for the rest of the game.
Now, I know that I have the best knowledge of Urgot because I have a silver friend who just mains it. So I'm going to get all of my info about Urgot is going to be coming from this. But it means that like the Urgot does quite well in the later stages of the game. He does have a lot of split pushing power because he's got that percentage health as well. He should be quite capable of dealing with the Poppy and becomes a menace as well once you get that Black Cleaver and you get the Frozen Mallet, because there's just no escape realistically. You'll be looking at Poppy to try and use that hammer to swing Sendo out of these fights before he can really get going, or even in that split push role to keep herself safe. It will be kind of tough as the game goes on though, and this is why I was looking for something in the split push role for these guys, is that they've got a strong core in this Zac, the Tam Kench, and the Kog'Maw. You've got your dive potential coming through with the Zac when you want to go in for these siege scenarios. You've got a heap of damage coming through from the Kog'Maw as well, while still having that peel in the Tam Kench to keep the Kog'Maw safe. So now you're opened up the map into this 1-3-1 with the Galio in one lane, you've got the Urgot in the other, and Galio can join it at any point in time. This is where I love to see the synergy between the jungle and the Galio. If you've got this diving style coming through from your jungler, Galio can so effectively be utilized to keep that jungler safe as he works his magic underneath the tower alongside the Kog'Maw. So this is going to become very scary if it allows XL to get to the point where they could open up and become the powerhouse of the Kog'Maw. But it's got to be on No Org to see if they can try and play around that instead. They do have some strong team fighting scenarios where they can fit quite well with their composition, and they've also got the early game pressure as well coming through from the Jarvan. So I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys pick up some early kills and see if they can try and shut this down.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's not just about what we think. We want to know what you think too. So on Twitter or on the Twitch chat, type in hashtag ESL Prem and let us know if you think it is going to be XL taking the win, or if No Org, No Problem will have no problems as they try and win this game. And I'm going to call it right now. Rob, we're looking at these two teams. We saw the two drafts. Kog'Maw is a hot favorite to be the one that comes out pretty much every game. Do XL have this in the bag, or do No Org look to kind of make a big upset?
See, the only thing about XL is that they've got it's going to be tough for them in and around that Baron area because they've got so much poke to deal with. Tristana with the rapid fire cannon, you're going to have Xerath throwing in all these extra spells at you as well, and you're going to have that Poppy to try and knock you away, so then it ends up being a 4v5 fight and you've already taken a lot of damage. And even when they try to push in as this three-man squad that we're talking about, you're pushing into the Xerath, you're pushing into the Tristana, who are great in those wave clear scenarios. So it means that XL have to find the fights around this Baron objective to try and push in towards these towers. And that becomes quite difficult to do with everything that's coming out from No Org or No Problem. So it's actually quite up in the air. I could definitely see No Org, No Problem holding out for quite a while and then maybe picking off XL as they make that misplay in and around the Baron area, because it only takes one misplay to really have this game turned around with the style that No Org, No Problem go for.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but ladies and gentlemen, we are on the riff for Game 2 of the ESL Premiership Week 1 Spring Season 2018. It is going to be XL on the blue side with No Org, No Problem on the red. I'm going to see both junglers starting at their red buffs. See that segue what I did? So smooth.
Nice. You've been working on it, haven't you? You've been working on it.
That one I've been writing for months. Like, just been keeping it in the back pocket. But I want to see how the side of No Org, No Problem really deal with this Zac pick from Taxer, because he's one of those kind of, you know, junglers that can be very, very, very problematic if, like I said in the last game, you're not warding your side lanes. If you're not keeping the flanks 100% kept in vision of you, then he can get himself into position and really start an engage that you just don't want to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of the guys in No Org, No Problems can deal with them though. I mean, Poppy's going to have that steadfast presence. Tristana should be able to leap away with the rocket jump. So realistically, the only person that's in a lot of threat from the Zac is going to be that mid lane, is the immobile Xerath. But he should have the protection coming through from the Braum, so he should be okay, but as you're saying, it is going to be tough to try and ward out for those scenarios. I don't think it'll be a major issue though. I think the biggest problem that they're going to have is trying to shut down Taxer in with this Galio as well. We saw in the last game the effects of the Rengar and also with the Galio. Now we're going to see a slightly different style where instead of it being okay, I'm going to burst in and instantly kill you, it's going to be a case of there is so much CC coming down, it's impossible for you to move and get out of this stun lock.
And already early on we're seeing the pressure coming down a little bit. Galio though pretty much expected in these early trades to go ahead of the Xerath. Going to have a lot more kind of instant wave clear in his court. And see what they want to go with that pressure there, because Taxer has got options available to him once he clears his jungle. Level 3 Zac gank is very, very powerful. Just needs to use it in the right position.
Yeah, and I like that the Crumble has gone for that early cleanse as well. It means that then he's pretty much safe from anything that gets thrown his direction. He's going to be quite tanky once he gets up towards that Abyssal Mask, and particularly when you're into Sejuani Xerath, you get it's a double problem for No Org, No Problem, because they just cannot deal with it. So realistically, it now shuts down and limits the areas that this Sejuani can go and visit. She can try and look into the bot lane, but if you've got that Tam Kench to keep you safe, that becomes quite difficult to deal with, but not in the top lane.
Yeah, as you see that dive coming in, but Sejuani is there. They're just jumping into everybody and trying to do as much as they possibly can. Now Sendo in a lot of trouble, gets stunned, will get a lot of damage put down onto him, and that's going to be first blood to Skaden. And that is just such a disaster for this top lane. Massive play coming out from No Org, No Problem.
You can see how close they were to taking down Dan XD, but that was the big problem, was there was no vision in the enemy jungle. They didn't know where he'd started, they weren't sure where he was going to be on that side of the map, and you cannot go for that play, particularly when the whole thought process on Excel's side was Taxer can tank this up, he can go down into his blob form and still be fine because of the size of the minion wave, and we can go and get the kill. But because they didn't know where Skedden was, he's able to move in and completely disrupt the play coming out from XL, and that's just not prepping correctly before you go into that play. They needed to put down the vision and ensure that they could make that play successfully.
And just as we come into a little bit of a pause, we see the teams just making sure they're 100%, but you saw how greedy that play was. There was no vision in that top side of the jungle. Like you said, they had no idea where Skedden was, and that just meant that it was a huge problem once he rotated up. And I kind of, fair props to No Org, No Problem. They're the ones who are capitalizing on this mistake and gets the Poppy going, gets the Sejuani going, and puts huge pressure now on this kind of, again, I talked about it a little bit in my article, but off-meta picks. That No Org, No Problem are the team that do this, not the side of XL.
Yeah, and it's not too big a factor getting Poppy ahead as such. It's that Urgot is now behind. You need this guy to start to pick up the kills, pick up the CS, and bully out this Poppy. Otherwise, it becomes too easy to shut down that split push pressure. So the fact that it ends up being the Urgot that goes down sends him back, which means that Poppy is now free to just fix herself up in the lane and make sure she can set herself up correctly.
And to anyone who is wondering right now, Ox, the support substitute for the side of XL, had to step in as the starting sub did not have his Tournament Rel account set up and ready to go. So unfortunately, they are playing with a sub, but at the same time, that's why we have subs for these kind of instances of things going wrong. So he'll have to make do. And XL, they've had plenty of practice with Ox. He should be well set up to be able to kind of help his team, but. You see Taxer jumping in, gonna maybe try and smite it. He does. Thank you very much, says Skedden, as he picks up the rest of his wolf camp.
Yeah, won't be able to take that one away. Barely left him with HP, but looks like Sendo has found his way into Dan, and he has no flash.
He has no flash. He needs to be so careful. I don't think he can be anymore, and that's going to be one more auto attack potentially doing it. Oh, he's so close. No minions blocking him. And Dan XD gets out with an inch of health, not even a millimeter of health. And that was just unlucky. Unfortunately, Urgot is an incredibly slow champion.
Yeah, but that just shows how little respect Dan has for the damage potential coming out from Urgot. We were talking about these crazy picks that can come through, and this is obviously one that Dan hasn't seen before, because that should be something that you know not to go toe-to-toe with the Urgot at this stage of the game. He's just so capable of ripping through the health bar when he's got that W activated, and you can see it right there. Dan barely escaping, and he needs to be more careful.
Yeah, Dan gives it a little bit of respect. He is still against a very, very oppressive laner in the form of Urgot, and you see Krumel definitely using his Galio pressure to good use, pushing into those Raptors and making sure that he gets them, takes them away from the side of Skidden. It's going to be a long time before Mr. Gun's Zerath is actually up and running and getting good wave clear.
Yeah, he's not really going to be able to do too much against the Galio right now, especially as we were saying, he's going to be working up towards that magic resist already, so it's just going to be a nuisance as this Galio continues to roam in, but it does mean he's consistently getting vision on the Sejuani as well. So the problem with the mid lane right now is that because Zerath is attempting to ramp up, they're starting to lose control of their jungle just a little bit. Taxer's getting in with the wards, Krummel's getting in with the wards, and it just means that then this bot lane is free to just play it safe because they know they're not in any danger. It's like they're playing with map packs. They know where Sejuani is at all points in time.
Yeah, good vision control is key if they want to go for this. Ox just trying to get those minions to stop the freeze as such, or to keep the freeze I should say, keep it nice and close. To say Mr. Gun force the flash immediately. Will put down a lot of hurt onto Krumel, who has to use his Zhonya's almost straight away. Will have his flash still. We're gonna see the ultimate coming out from Zerath as well, but very unfortunate and almost kind of uncharacteristic mistake coming out there from the XL mid laner.
Yeah, just went a little bit too far forward, and you kind of got to question why they're trying to put that much pressure onto the Zerath when he's just hiding underneath the tower anyway. And yes, he burnt the flash, but trying to go that greedy next to a tower can spell disaster in a lot of situations, particularly when that stun is so easily available for the Zerath. Had the heal as well, so could have played that a little bit more carefully, but Taxer is really trying to just put as much pressure down as possible on this mid and top lane, so then the Sejuani needs to answer. If they can force Sejuani to play to the tune of their flute, it means that then they can start to make sure that this bot lane, this Kog'Maw, is safe, has that TP to get back to lane, has the ultimate from Ox as well. So this is where we start to see a very similar story to what we see with Sivir, where they're just consistently able to get back to lane, and it becomes so difficult for the Tristana to get up items where she can actually start to go toe-to-toe. And realistically, the Kog'Maw wants to try and stick around in lane so then he can get that Gwynsu's, and having that teleport available, having that Tam Kench as that reset to get back to lane and keep the Tristana in lane before she can get her items and really become a nuisance is fantastic for Venzo.
And we see now it is actually a Cloud Drake going to be the first available elemental Drake for either of these sides, and you can imagine neither will really want to be risking any kind of crazy plays just for that, you know, extra movement speed, no matter how inviting it might be to have, like, you know, 3 of them stack and get an extra pair of Mobies in your inventory. It's just not worth losing a fight over it.
And this is the thing, I don't even know who would have an advantage in that scenario. Because of how long it takes Zerath to ramp up, and the base stats from Galio are so high, particularly when you've got that ultimate available, it becomes incredibly tough to actually fight against these... fight around these objectives. And it kind of can go very back and forth depending on how it works. So it's actually kind of a bit even and a bit of a stalemate in the early stages of the game. So not having that objective is probably nicer, just so teams don't really try and fight around it for no reason.
Yeah, both these sides are looking for those big team fights. You've got the Sejuani ult along with the kind of AoE you get from the Zerath, and Poppy able to kind of keep people away, keep tanks away, or pin down the big massive damage dealers. And the same with the side of XL. You've got people like the Zac, the Galio. They're all looking for these big massive plays. And as I say that though, we're going to see, ooh, nice ultimate into the Zhonya's there from the side of XL. And that's the Zhonya's burned, or rather the stopwatch burned for Mr. Gun. He needs to be a little bit more careful. As I say that, here comes Skaden. He's feeling a little bit more confident. Does get the stun onto Taxer. Got to find himself Krumel in the back end of that, but everyone's pretty damn tanky. I don't think anyone's going to be going down anytime soon.
And right now, Excel are trying to push their lead through opening up this mid lane. What they want to do is get the Galio ahead so he can start to make these roaming plays and always have that numbers advantage around the map. You can see they're trying to open up the top lane, which is why they want Urgot to be in a good position, but this is not one for him.
No, it is not. He's going to get stun locked twice, and we're going to see the ultimate actually get negated, and a shield is just enough to keep him alive. There's the Xerath ultimate coming in. He eventually picks that one up. We're going to see Skewton going golden. Does eventually get himself out. Dan XD trying to keep this interesting for the side of XL, but they do disengage. Low health bars, low mana bars, but it is no org, no problem who pick up the kill.
Yeah, and that was the thing. You can see how much damage Sendo can put out on this champion if he's allowed to, but that's the thing. They were late to the play. It was, in fact, no org, no problem who were setting up the push, and that means that it's very difficult for them to turn that one around. So great play from them to make sure that they're shutting down this Urgot in the early stages.
And as much as scaling is very much a factor in this game, and you've got to feel confident right now if you're no org, no problem. You're coming out on top of these trades. Your jungler is getting very far ahead of this Zac. Your Sejuani is becoming very relevant into this game. It's got to feel a little bit, taxing on the side of XL to know that they're the ones coming in as favorites and they're the ones who are struggling in this early game.
They are playing very heavily up on this top side. It's just not quite working out for them. You can see where they want to go, which is to get the tower using the Urgots pushing, then look towards that Rift Herald, see if they can open up mid through that, and then it's just easy for them to scoot down towards that bottom lane and get that final tower as the Kog'Maw is slowly ramping up this whole time. But right now the game plan isn't quite working out for them. They haven't found the picks onto Xerath, and well played to Mystagun for avoiding all this pressure, all these ganks that are coming down, because there's a lot of pressure on Krummel right now to get out and influence the rest of the map, but because of all the pressure that has been answered for by Skedden and through the Xerath, he hasn't been able to find that. So this is actually just well played coming through from the org to make sure that they can lock these guys down.
Kog'Maw has finished the Guinsoo's Rageblade now. We're actually seeing Dan XD pushing Sendo back a little bit. And this could be the turning point of this match. We actually see a Phage finished up as well as a Bambi Cinders for both top laners respectively. And honestly, I feel like Dan might be able to hold this lane now, and that's a bit of an issue for XL.
Yeah, that was really what they wanted to do, was try and win through the Urgot. But if Dan's able to hold out, has that Bambi Cinder, it means it makes it a lot more difficult, and particularly when you've got that pushing power coming through from Bambi Cinder, getting this wave to hit the tower can be a nuisance. But looks like Sejuani is making her way into the bot side. Benzer going aggressive with the Guinsoo's, but knows that he's going to have to back off for the moment and won't be able to push that advantage as much as he'd like.
We actually saw, if you looked at the mini-map, you saw Zac and Galio both positioning themselves. We've seen Taxer and Krummel try and go for some kind of big four-man engage. As I say that, we're going to see a little bit of damage onto Taxer. Needs to be careful. Doesn't want to pop his passes for no reason. Great absorption of pressure from Mystagun, but unfortunately the top lane will probably end up going down pretty damn soon. But no org, no problem. I feel like they've definitely felt like they've come out a little bit better, a little bit stronger than they would have had those kills not gone over to the side of Poppy and Sejuani.
Yeah, the big issue though is once they take this top lane tower, it's very easy for them to rotate to the Rift Herald. And this is, yes, it's a slower play that's coming out from XL, but it still means that they're in the driver's seat because they have that tempo advantage coming through from the Urgot. You're going to be looking for XL, or sorry, not for XL, even for no org to try and shut that play down. But because Taxer and the Galio are playing down towards the bottom side, it's very difficult to do.
Very, very difficult. Taxer comes in, does get the knock up. There's the Braum ultimate. They're going to get the Tristana away, but here might be a little bit of a re-engage. Taunt onto the Braum means they will pick up that kill. Venzer very low though. We're gonna see maybe a slight re-engage, and ooh, flash in from the Xerath means that forcing the flash from the Kog'Maw, and there's the ultimate on from the Sejuani, and Taxer goes back into this fight. He's just gonna play as a kidnap for jump back in. It's gonna be a crazy, awkward fight, and it looks like XL might just have it. There's the cell division from the Zac, keeping them all safe and sound as they keep chasing more kills. It's a disaster for the side of No Org, No Problem as they get taken down 4 for none. Great play from XL.
And this was all coming through that pressure that they got in the mid lane. By forcing the Xerath away from the tower, it meant that they could go and influence the map. They're getting the bot lane turret, they're getting the top lane turret, and this is now the snowball from XL starting up. And fantastic play from them to keep that pressure in the mid lane going until eventually no orc ended up breaking.
What great knowledge there from Taxer, knowing that he could go in, use his ultimate, get all three of them caught up into it, and then immediately able to get it, you know, not have to worry at the fact that he's got the cell division because he knows he's going to be able to keep himself safe. Fantastic play by him. Great work to keep himself and his team back into that game, because it looked like it could have went very wrong very quickly, and just well played to him.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to start looking at the lane assignments coming through from XL. Where do they want to have this Urgot go? Right now, he's heading down towards that bottom side of the map. You got Kog'Maw going top, which means they're going to be looking to try and shove this wave in and very quickly transition into that Rift Herald. They're going to have the percentage HP coming down. You're going to have this the Kog'Maw with that recurve bow as well, means he can take this down incredibly quickly alongside Taxer. So this is going to be tough for no org. They're also going to be a bit late to the rotation, so Kog'Maw's going to go up, catch that wave before Tristana and the Braum even make it up there.
Yeah, 2 turrets and a Cloud Drake. Again, not exactly the most, you know, awful one to give away, as we see No Org, No Problem trying to respawn. Mr. Gun has to jump up on top of this now. We have got the ultimate from Cromel, who's going to use it straight away. Ox going to use his Devour to get the Poppy into this fight. Poppy has nowhere to go. Flashes, but in vain. And XL ramping up the pace of this game. Really want to try and get something going. They need to be careful, though, on the side of No Org, No Problem, because they might just have gotten caught. There's the Braum ultimate to try and keep these ones alive. Flash into another fantastic ultimate from the Zac. Means that there's just nothing the side of No Org, No Problem can do. They are getting destroyed in these fights right now, and it is going to be a huge triple kill going over the side of XL's Cromel, and that is guaranteed to be another tower.
And there goes the Rift Herald as well. This mightn't just be one. This could most certainly be 2 towers coming through from XL. They're going to have that minion wave in just a moment. And there's very little that come out from No Org. You could see the thought process. They thought they could rush down this Rift Herald before the remaining members of XL got to join in, but they miscalculated. And once they're caught out making that very risky play with no bot lane in sight, it means that you're going to end up losing the 2v4. They pick up everything for XL, and this is just looking fantastic for this team.
They were slow to get out of the gates, but right now Taxer is just grabbing his team and saying, we end this soon. And he is just doing some amazing engages right now. Absolutely huge impact on this game so far, and fantastic work from him. And No Org, No Problem. They're not out of it just yet, of course. They have got a slight scale in the Tristana, and the Xerath will become, I think it's like one of the highest DPS mages in the late game. But you gotta get there, and that Galio-Zac combination of both of them being able to jump in onto that front line is just so hard to deal with.
And like the combo is sick as well, where you see time and time again Taxer grabbing up everyone and just delivering them into the taunt from the Galio. It's so well played and so well coordinated, and it's just beautiful to see. It's really cool, and there's nothing that these guys can do to stop it. I mean, how do you try and play against that as No Org? There's everything is snowballing out of your control, and now you can see XL are trying to snowball that lead into the vision control in this jungle as well. 1 minute until Baron is up, and how do you really try and fight the 5-kill Galio, a 3-kill Kog'Maw with the Wit's End? And you were saying already, yes, Xerath can get to the stage where he becomes that late game mage, where he can deal lots of damage, but that's in these siege scenarios and poke scenarios. He doesn't do that great in these team fights because you've got only, you know, 1 rotation of spells. You've got to dip out again. You mightn't be able to hit multiple members, whereas the Galio is almost guaranteed to have usefulness because of the ultimate, because of the taunt, and also because of how much damage he is dishing out right now, that he can hit multiple members. This becomes incredibly tough to do. And as well, how do you try and stop this split push pressure that's coming through? You've got the Galio in the top lane, Urgot's on the bottom. We've already seen the struggles that Poppy is going through right now against Sendo, and now you've got your main squad in the mid lane.
And it looks like Ox never actually retired. He's 007 right now. Secret Agent Ox coming back for XL to be able to get them straight into a winning condition for this game. And there's just nothing the side of No Orc Problem can do at this top side. They have to give this tower up.
Exactly, and this is the thing, they don't even know where Excel are going to next because they've lost all vision control. This is Excel now rotating back towards the Baron. You can see how trepid and kind of tenuous No Org are and moving through this jungle because they don't know where the engage is going to come from.
And there is the engage you were just talking about, and that Unbreakable is not exactly the strongest ability right now, as you see Skidden getting a lot of damage onto him, and that is going to be the ultimate from Urgos. Able to get the kill off on the backside, and just so much going right for the side of XL. They honestly might just go straight for the Baron.
Yeah, they're moving towards it at the moment. You can see Poppy is down in the bot lane. She's not going to be looking to join this. Venzer will be able to tear through this Baron with the help of his teammates. And looks like they're just going to try and put some poke down, but realistically all they're doing is leashing us.
Yeah, they're just holding it out to see how long they can wait this one now. Hopefully they remember there are 4 attacks. Yes, they seem to have remembered it there, and the timer does run out, and that is going to be an easy pick up there for the side of XL. And I don't even think, yeah, Dan XD, he can't even say safely that he can stay there and take that turret because he does not know where the team are coming from.
Yeah, it's not even, it's that he wants to get that gold into his pocket, so maybe he can try and hold against this Urgot. But right now, I'm not the biggest fan of him going for that kill. Yes, you're kind of like, okay, he wants to be able to deal with the Kog'Maw and with the Galio, but realistically, you're just trying to stop this Urgot split push and then try and come in and help your team after the fact. And that's when you're struggling already in the split push, you want to try and put as much help into yourself as much as you can into stopping that split push coming through. So even work up towards the chain vest, then go into that Gargoyle stone plate and be that frontliner that your team really needs, because right now you've got to find some way of dealing with the Urgot and these burned up minions.
Yeah, that's the question. You have to find some way of doing it, but how do you do it? That's a question I'll leave for No Org, No Problem right now, and that is something that's going to have to change rather rapidly, because you're looking at a Kog'Maw who's got towards his 3-item spike. You're looking at a 3-item Galio as well, and it's just so difficult for them to really find anything right now. And Medjai is built onto Galio, and Cromel, I don't even blame him for it right now. He is doing such a good job, and honestly, I don't think there's anyone on the side of No Org, No Problem who can actually kill him until we see full item builds coming out from Twisted Tristana.
But look at it as well, like 3 cleanses on the side of Excel. Even if you try to make the pick, there's no hope of you actually succeeding because they're just going to run away straight off. You can see now Venzer and Ox are pushing down in this bottom lane, and very quickly they can rotate. Almost every member on Excel has some way of joining a lane that they shouldn't. Tam takes along the Kog'Maw, the Galio has the ultimate available, Taxer can leap over these walls, and right now they're leaping towards the victory and taking down this inhib turret.
Yeah, it could all be down to one team fight. Where do No Org, No Problem take their stand right now? They need to try and do something. Need to try and just keep this away. If they lose their inhibitors, you can't really see a way back for them right now. And Dan XD just trying his best, trying to just use that Sunfire passive to keep these minions low, but it's just so difficult for a champion like Poppy, who just doesn't have much innate wave clear to really go for this.
Yeah, particularly against burned up minions as well. The magic damage that's coming from that Sunfire Cape is going to do far less. Taxer is threatening the engage as the inhib turret goes down, but it's just to try and force No Org away from the turrets, and right now he is being successful. They're now rushing towards the mid to see if they can hold on from the onslaught Galio has put onto this turret. They will hold for just a moment, but it's not looking pretty for No Org.
Yeah, it really isn't, and it's just a slow and painful death right now. They don't even have to engage. It could be a death of 1,000 cuts is how they could end it, as they take the top lane inhibitor turret, the bot lane inhibitor turret, and we see now they're going to try and jump onto Sendu, but here comes the Galio ultimate in reply, and the rest of XL have decided to jump in. Kog'Maw gets a turret off on the backside. He's not even part of this fight right now. Ox devours the side of Taxer, excuse me, and there's just nothing they can do. Even when they get engaged upon in their base, under towers, there's just not a huge amount they can go for. Taxer staying alive, doesn't want to lose that perfect KDA. They're going to try and hit him, though. Taxer going to have his happy feet, but he should be totally fine. And all 3 inhibitors are down for the side of No Org, No Problem. And this is definitely not going to look good with them right now. They may be able to keep this base alive for another 2-3 minutes, but that's as long as they're going to get.
there's not much that no problem can really do right now. They're going to be shoving in towards the base in just a few moments. Excel are backing to pick up the final nails in the coffin of No Org's base. And this is the thing, you can't hold on to the amount of engagements coming through, the defensive stats that are coming through, and the raw damage that this Cogmog can put forward. They've fallen too far behind, and now it's just going to be a matter of moments before the Nexus is going to fall.
Yeah, one more wave push. They just haven't really got the items. They haven't got the time to really ramp up this comp. And it can be a monster in the late game, but like we always say, if you're waiting for the late game, have to get there first, and it just looks like it's not going to happen, as it looks like XL finally going to move in with the super minions. All 3 lanes pushing in for them now. They're going to look for the end.
Yeah, they are going to be looking towards the base, and they're trying desperately to hold these minions at bay on the side of No Org, but there's just nothing that they can do. Struggling to get through the first wave, and there's certainly many more on the way. Sendu is making sure of that, pushing and escorting this minion wave in towards the tower. There's another one just arriving at the top, and this is a desperation moment for No Org. Can they find the dream engage, the miracle hold? Because right now the turrets are falling with no fight.
Yeah, no fight's happening, and they're just losing it there. They have to use the Xerath ultimate to just try put some damage down onto Venzer, who just takes absolutely nothing. Taxer just teasing with an engage right now, and here we go. They look for something. Sejuani backs away immediately. They get the stun onto the Urgot. There's the Braum ultimate, but again, it's just not worth it. There's the Galio ultimate in on top of the Zac. Let's bounce, and that's just going to be 2 people going down, but that's all they need on the side of XL. They get the kills, they get the turrets, and honestly, in 26 minutes, 2 minutes slower than the side of Misfits Academy. It looks like they're going to be able to pick up the kill once Sendu picks himself up. Actually, Venzer picks himself up a kill. That is going to be the win, going over to XL Esports.